The housing crisis could profoundly change Britain's electoral politics, rallying support for the left but also potentially boosting the far right, Britain's former top civil servant has said. Bob Kerslake, the head of the civil service under David Cameron, told The Guardian the government's failure to build enough cheap social housing and public anger over house builders' bonuses means more people feeling like they are losing out from the UK economy. He said it was wrong that so many young people felt they would never be able to afford to buy a home and that the number of new council houses being built needed to increase tenfold to account for a quarter of all new builds. Lord Kerslake is a crossbench peer and was Permanent Secretary at the Department of Communities and Local Government from 2010 to 2015, overseeing housing policy. He was also head of the Civil Service from 2012 to 2015. He said Theresa May had made statements showing she understands there is a crisis, but she had not grasped the scale of the response required. Unless they ramp it up, it's not going to be enough, he said. The UK is 110,000 new homes short of the annual target of 300,000 set by the Chancellor Philip Hammond in November's budget to be achieved by the mid-2020s. New homes for social rent, the cheapest rents charged for council housing, are only being built at the rate of 6,800 a year. Describing the potential impact of the housing crisis on voters, Kerslake said, "Some might go to the far right. It could be exploited against migrants and others, and that has happened. There's an equal chance they will become organized and vociferous within the mainstream political system, I would guess towards the left." The political impact is magnified because of its disproportionate effect on younger voters. Only 38% of 25 to 34-year-olds are homeowners, down from 57% 10 years ago. Younger people historically vote less than their elders, but the fact that so few can afford to buy could energize a larger turnout in future elections. Kerslake said that while he led the civil service, government policies tended to be assessed on how they would affect older voters, because they voted more and they were more likely to vote Conservative. This year's election changed that, he said. For the first time you saw young people being organized and exercising their vote in a very defined direction. That shifted all the political parties. A consequence of not addressing this issue will be more people feeling like they are losing out from the UK economy. There were a few at the top of the Conservative Party who saw social housing as toxic, and some at a very senior level thought that it was synonymous with sink estates and some saw it as synonymous with Labour voters. Either way, it wasn't very popular. His comments come ahead of next year's Green Paper on social housing announced by the Communities Secretary, Sajid Javid, following the Grenfell Tower fire. It is expected to address issues including the quality of social housing and tenants' rights. Announcing the policy review, Javid said, "The housing market in this country has been crippled by a long-term failure to match supply and demand.